The alarm bells rang through the research ship like angry metal birds. Dr. Lisa Kane dropped her coffee cup and ran to the bridge. The hot liquid splashed across her white lab coat, but she did not care. Something was wrong. Captain Rex Murphy stood at the main screen, his 4 arms crossed over his chest. His blue skin looked pale in the red warning lights. The other crew members moved quickly around the bridge. Everyone looked worried. "What do we have, Captain?" Lisa asked as she reached his side. Rex pointed at the screen with one of his long fingers. "Unknown ship, dead in space. We picked up a distress signal 20 minutes ago. Very weak signal. Ship looks damaged." Lisa looked at the image on the screen. The ship was small and dark. It spun slowly in the empty space. She could see holes in its side where something had hit it. Parts of the ship were missing. "Any life signs?" she asked. "One," said Amy Foster from her station. Amy was the ship's engineer. Her green skin was covered in the natural patterns of her people. Very faint. "Whatever is alive in there won't be alive much longer." Captain Murphy made his decision fast. "Bring it aboard. Bay 3, full quarantine protocols." Lisa nodded. As the ship's xenobiologist, she would need to examine whatever they found. She had studied over 300 different alien species in her career. She thought she had seen everything. She was wrong. 2 hours later, Lisa stood outside the medical bay. Through the thick glass window, she could see the being they had pulled from the wrecked ship. It lay on the examination table, still unconscious. The thing looked almost familiar. It had 2 arms and 2 legs like many species she knew. It stood upright when they moved it. But something was different. Something was wrong. "Look at the muscle density," said Dr. Pete Williams, the ship's medical officer. He pointed at the scans on his screen. "I have never seen anything like this. The bone structure is incredibly thick, and these muscles, they're packed with fibers. This being is built like a walking weapon." Lisa studied the scans. Pete was right. The being's body was designed for incredible strength. Its bones were thick enough to stop most weapons. Its muscles could probably bend steel. "What about the gravity readings from its ship?" she asked. Amy Foster checked her data pad. 10 times normal. 10 times what we consider safe for most species. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. 10 times? That's impossible. Nothing can live in that kind of gravity. "This thing can," Pete said quietly. The being on the table began to wake up. Its eyes opened slowly. They were small and dark, set deep in its face. When it saw them watching through the glass, it sat up fast. Too fast. The metal table bent under its weight as it pushed itself up. The being looked around the room with quick, sharp movements, like a predator checking for danger. "Easy there," Pete said through the speaker system. "You're safe. We found your ship. We want to help." The being looked at the speaker. Then it spoke. "Where am I? What happened to my ship?" The words came out in a language none of them knew. But the universal translator worked quickly. Soon they could understand what it was saying. "You're on a research vessel," Lisa said into her microphone. "Your ship was badly damaged. We brought you here to help you." The being stood up from the table. It was tall, about 6 feet. Its body moved with a fluid grace that made Lisa think of the great hunting cats from her home world. But those cats were small and weak compared to this thing. "My name is Jake Collins," the being said. "I'm from Earth. I was traveling to the Centauri system when something went wrong with my engines." "Earth?" Lisa looked at Amy. Neither of them had heard of this planet. "We'll need to run some tests," Pete said to Jake, "to make sure you're healthy. To make sure you're not carrying any diseases that could hurt our crew." Jake nodded. "I understand. But I need to contact my people. They'll be worried when I don't arrive on schedule." "We'll help you with that." Captain Murphy's voice came through the speakers. He had been listening from the bridge. "But first, we need to understand what we're dealing with." Jake looked confused. "What do you mean?" "Your physical capabilities." Lisa explained. "Your body is unlike anything we've seen before. You're incredibly strong and dense. Your bones and muscles suggest you come from a world with very high gravity." "Earth has normal gravity," Jake said. He sounded puzzled. "Just 1 g, that's standard, right?" The crew members looked at each other. 1 g was not standard. 1 g was deadly to most species in the galaxy. "Jake," Lisa said carefully, "most inhabited worlds have gravity between 0.3 and 0.6 g. 1 g is considered extremely dangerous." Jake laughed. It was a sound that made everyone on the bridge feel nervous. Dangerous? I grew up playing football in that gravity. I used to run 5 miles every morning before school. Pete ran the calculations quickly. 5 miles in 1 g gravity. That's like running 50 miles in normal gravity every day. "Just to stay in shape," Jake said. He was getting more confused. "Look, I think there's been some kind of mistake. I'm just a regular guy. I work in construction back home. Nothing special about me." Lisa felt her hands start to shake. If Jake was a regular member of his species, what did that say about the rest of them? What kind of world produced beings like this as normal citizens? "Jake," she said slowly, "we're going to need to ask you a lot of questions about your home world." "Sure," Jake said. "But can I get some food first? I haven't eaten in 2 days. And maybe some water. I'm really thirsty." Pete checked his medical readings. 2 days without food or water? You should be dead. Jake shrugged. "I've gone longer. One time when I was camping, I got lost for a week. Only had rainwater to drink." The crew was silent. A week without food would kill most of them. But Jake talked about it like it was a minor inconvenience. Captain Murphy's voice came through the speakers again. "Dr. Kane, I need to see you on the bridge, now." Lisa knew that tone. The captain was scared. She had never heard him scared before. As she left the medical bay, she could hear Jake asking Pete about getting something to eat. His voice was friendly and normal, like he was just a regular person asking for a simple favor. But Lisa knew better now. Whatever Jake Collins was, he was not regular. And if there were more like him on this planet called Earth, the galaxy might have a very big problem. 3 days passed before the news reached the Galactic Federation. Dr. Lisa Kane sent her report through the quantum communication system. She marked it as urgent and classified. But reports like this never stayed secret for long. Admiral Helen Torres read the file twice before she believed it. A species from a Class 12 death world. A being that could survive in gravity that would crush most life forms. Muscles and bones strong enough to break their strongest metals. "This changes everything," she said to her aide. "Contact the research vessel immediately. Tell them to proceed to Starbase 7, maximum security." Back on the research ship, Jake Collins sat in his small cell. They had moved him there after the incident in the medical bay. He had not meant to hurt anyone. He was just trying to get free from the metal restraints when the doctors wanted to take more blood samples. The metal had bent like soft clay in his hands. 3 security guards had tried to stop him. Jake had pushed them away gently, but gentle for a human was not gentle for aliens. All 3 guards were now in the medical bay with broken bones. "I said I was sorry," Jake told Dr. Kane through the cell door. "I didn't know they were so fragile. On Earth, that would barely bruise someone," Lisa believed him. She had been studying Jake for days now. He seemed genuinely upset about hurting the guards. But the rest of the crew was terrified of him. "The problem is not your intentions, Jake," she explained. "The problem is what you can do without trying. You're stronger than our security systems. You're faster than our weapons can track. The crew thinks you're dangerous." "But I'm not," Jake said. He sat on the metal bench in his cell. The bench creaked under his weight even though he was sitting. Carefully, I'm just a construction worker. I build houses and fix roads. I have a dog named Buddy and a girlfriend named Sally. I play baseball on weekends with my friends. Lisa made notes on her data pad. Everything Jake said about his normal life sounded impossible. Building houses required lifting materials that would need machines for most species. Playing baseball meant hitting and throwing objects at speeds that would be deadly to others. Tell me about your military, she said. Jake looked confused. What? About it? Your species must have incredible soldiers. If regular citizens like you have these abilities, your warriors must be unstoppable. Jake laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Lady, I never served in the military. But I know guys who did. Marines, Army Rangers, Navy SEALs. Those guys are tough. They train for years to be the best fighters on Earth. Lisa felt cold. And they're stronger than you? Not stronger exactly, Jake said. But they know how to fight. They know how to kill. I just know how to build things and throw a football. The ship's communication system crackled to life. Captain Murphy's voice echoed through the corridors. All crew to battle stations. We have incoming ships, unknown configuration. Jake stood up quickly. The sound of footsteps running through the ship told him something was very wrong. Then the ship shook hard. Emergency lights began flashing red. What's happening? Jake asked. Lisa was already moving toward the door. Pirates probably. They attack research vessels sometimes, looking for valuable cargo or technology. The ship shook again, harder this time. Lisa could hear weapons firing and the sound of metal tearing. Something had punched through the hull. You need to let me out, Jake said. I can't do that. You're too dangerous. Not to you, to them. Lisa, I can hear them in the corridors. They're killing your people. Lisa stopped. She could hear it too now. Screaming. The sound of weapons firing. The sound of crew members dying. If you leave me in here, they'll kill everyone, Jake said quietly. Including you, including me. Is that what you want? Lisa's hands shook as she entered the code to open the cell. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Jake stepped out and stretched. He moved his shoulders and neck like he was getting ready for exercise, but his eyes had changed. They were cold now, focused. Where are they? He asked. Deck 3, I think. Maybe 20 of them. They have military weapons and armor, Jake nodded. Stay here. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone except Captain Murphy or Dr. Williams. Jake, wait. You don't have any weapons. No armor. You'll be killed. Jake smiled, but it was not the friendly smile she had seen before. This smile made her think of ancient predators. Things that hunted in the dark. Lisa, I grew up on a world where everything wants to kill you. The weather, the animals, the plants, even the bacteria. Humans didn't get to the top of the food chain by being nice. He walked toward the door, then turned back. Oh, and Lisa? Those pirates are about to learn why my species survived long enough to build spaceships. Jake disappeared into the corridor. Lisa locked the door behind him and watched through the security monitors. What she saw next would give her nightmares. For the rest of her life, Jake moved through the ship like a ghost. The pirates never saw him coming. He used the maintenance shafts and air ducts to get behind them. When he struck, it was fast and silent. The first pirate died when Jake broke his neck with one quick twist. The second one died when Jake threw him against a wall so hard his skull cracked. The pirates had weapons that could cut through steel. They had armor that could stop most bullets. But Jake did not need weapons or armor. He was both when 3 pirates cornered him in a narrow hallway. Jake picked up a metal pipe from the damaged wall. He swung it like a baseball bat. The pipe bent around the first pirate's chest, crushing his ribs. The second pirate shot Jake twice in the shoulder. But Jake kept moving. He grabbed the pirate's head and slammed it into the wall. The third pirate ran. Lisa watched the security feeds and counted. 12 pirates had boarded the ship. Jake killed all 12 in less than 20 minutes. He did it with his bare hands and pieces of broken metal. When it was over, Jake returned to the detention area. His clothes were torn and bloody. He had been shot 4 times and stabbed twice. But he was walking normally. "It's safe now," he said to Lisa through the door. Lisa opened the door with shaking hands. "Jake, you're hurt. You need medical attention." Jake looked down at his wounds like he had forgotten about them. "These? They're not too bad. I've had worse falling off my roof at home." Captain Murphy arrived with the remaining security team. They stared at Jake like he was a monster. "What have we brought onto our ship?" Murphy whispered. Jake heard him. "You brought a human, Captain. Just a regular human who got tired of watching good people die." He walked back into his cell and sat down on the bent metal bench. "You can lock me up again if you want. But next time something like this happens, you might want to think about letting me help sooner." The door closed behind him. Captain Murphy looked at Lisa. "Contact the Federation immediately," he said. "Tell them we have a Class 7 predator species in custody. Maybe higher." Lisa nodded, but she was thinking about Jake's words. "Just a regular human." If Jake Collins was regular, what did that say about the rest of his species? The answer to that question would terrify the entire galaxy. Dr. Lisa Kane could not sleep. For 3 nights, she had been thinking about what Jake Collins had told her. She kept making notes and checking her data. Every answer Jake gave made less sense than the last one. She decided to talk to him again. This time, she would ask different questions. Better questions. Jake was sitting in his cell, doing something strange with his hands. He was pushing his fingers against each other and holding the position. His muscles stood out like thick cables under his skin. "What are you doing?" Lisa asked. "Push-ups," Jake said without stopping. "Well, sort of. I can't do real push-ups in here because I'd break the floor. So I'm doing isometric exercises instead." Lisa made a note. "How many push-ups can you normally do?" "I don't know. I never counted. Maybe 1,000 before I get tired." Lisa's data pad slipped from her hands. 1,000 push-ups would kill most beings in the galaxy. "Jake, I need to ask you about your home world, about Earth." Jake stopped exercising and looked at her. "What do you want to know?" "Everything. Start with the basics. What's the air like?" "Normal air. 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, and some other stuff." Lisa checked her charts. "Jake, that mixture is poisonous to most species. The oxygen content alone would kill half the beings in this galaxy." Jake looked confused. "But you need oxygen to live." "We need oxygen, yes, but in very small amounts. The air on most worlds is less than 5% oxygen." "That's not enough," Jake said. "How do you get any energy? How do you do hard work?" Lisa realized that what Jake called normal was deadly to everyone else. "Tell me about your weather." Jake smiled. "Earth has great weather, all kinds. In summer, it gets up to about 90 degrees where I live. In winter, it drops to maybe 10 below zero." Lisa converted the numbers in her head. "Jake, those temperatures would kill most of us. 90 degrees is boiling hot. 10 below zero is freezing cold. That's just Ohio weather," Jake said. "Some places on Earth get much hotter or colder. Death Valley hits 130 degrees. Antarctica goes down to -100. And people live in these places?" "Sure. We just wear different clothes and use heating or cooling systems." Lisa was writing as fast as she could. Earth was not just a hostile world. It was the most hostile world anyone had ever heard of. "What about animals?" she asked. Jake's face lit up. "Earth has amazing animals. Bears, tigers, sharks, eagles. Oh, and snakes. Lots of snakes." "Are they dangerous?" "Some of them. Bears can weigh 800 pounds and run 30 miles per hour. Tigers are even faster. Great white sharks can bite through almost anything. But most animals leave you alone if you don't bother them. Lisa felt sick. Jake was describing creatures that sounded like nightmare monsters. But he talked about them like they were normal pets. Jake, on most worlds, the largest predator weighs maybe 50 pounds. You're telling me that Earth has predators that weigh 16 times that much? Bears aren't even the biggest, Jake said. We used to have bigger ones. Saber-toothed tigers, giant bears, dire wolves. Humans hunted most of them to extinction thousands of years ago. Humans hunted them? With what weapons? Spears mostly. Later we invented bows and arrows. Before that, we used rocks and sticks. Lisa stared at him. Humans had hunted giant predators with simple tools. They had won. Tell me about human history, she said. Jake thought for a moment. Well, we've been around for about 300,000 years. Most of that time we lived in small groups, hunting and gathering food. We learned to make fire, tools, language. About 10,000 years ago, we started farming and building cities. What about wars? Jake's expression grew serious. Humans fight a lot. We've had thousands of wars. Big ones, small ones. World wars that involved millions of soldiers. We're not proud of it, but we're good at it. How good? We invented gunpowder, cannons, tanks, fighter planes, nuclear weapons. We built submarines that can stay underwater for months. We have missiles that can hit targets on the other side of the planet. Lisa's hands were shaking now. Nuclear weapons? Yeah, we split atoms to make explosions. One bomb can destroy an entire city. We built enough of them to destroy our whole planet several times over. But you didn't use them? We used 2 of them in World War II. After that, we realized they were too dangerous. Now we just keep them around to make sure nobody else uses theirs. Lisa could barely speak. Jake, nuclear weapons are banned throughout the galaxy. The technology is forbidden. Too dangerous. Really? We've had them for 80 years. Every major country on Earth has them. Engineer Amy Foster had been listening to the conversation through the ship's communication system. She ran to Lisa's location. Dr. Kane, I need to talk to you right now, Amy said. Her green skin had turned pale. Lisa left Jake and met Amy in the corridor. I've been checking Jake's stories against our planetary databases, Amy said. Earth is not listed anywhere. No contact, no surveys, nothing. That's impossible. How can an entire world be unknown? It gets worse. I ran calculations on everything Jake has told us. If his descriptions are accurate, Earth should be classified as a Class 12 death world. Lisa felt cold. Class 12? That's the highest rating. Those worlds are considered uninhabitable. According to our charts, nothing can evolve on a Class 12 world. The conditions are too harsh. Life is impossible. But Jake evolved there. His entire species did. Amy nodded grimly. Which means our charts are wrong. Very wrong. They returned to Jake's cell. He was doing more exercises, this time lifting his own body weight with one arm. Jake, Lisa said, how many humans are there on Earth? About 8 billion last time I checked. Lisa and Amy looked at each other. 8 billion beings like Jake Collins. How many of them can fight like you did against the pirates? Amy asked. Jake stopped exercising. I'm not a fighter, Amy. I told you, I'm a construction worker. If you want to know about real fighters, you should ask about our military. How many people are in Earth's military? All countries combined? Maybe 50 million active soldiers. But in a real war, Earth could probably put 1 billion people in uniform if we had to. Lisa did the math in her head. 1 billion soldiers. Each one as strong and fast and deadly as Jake Collins. Jake, she said quietly, your species terrifies the galaxy. You know that, right? Jake looked genuinely surprised. Why? We're just people trying to get by. We work, we play, we take care of our families, same as everyone else. But you're not the same as everyone else. You're incredibly strong, incredibly tough, and incredibly good at killing things." Jake was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. "Lisa, I think you need to understand something about humans. We didn't get strong because we wanted to. We got strong because we had to. Earth tried to kill us every single day for 300,000 years. The weather, the animals, the diseases, even the plants. Everything on our world was designed to end us." He stood up and walked to the front of his cell. "We survived because we learned to be tougher than everything that wanted us dead. We learned to work together, to fight together, to never give up. We didn't choose to be this way. Earth made us this way." Lisa was writing frantically. Every word Jake said was important. "The thing is," Jake continued, "we're not monsters. We're just adapted to a world that would kill most beings in 5 minutes. If the galaxy is full of safer worlds with gentler species, then maybe humans are the monsters by comparison." He sat back down on his bent metal bench. "But we're still just people, Lisa. We still love our families and want peace and try to do the right thing. We just happen to be very, very good at surviving." Lisa closed her datapad. She had enough information now. More than enough. She also had a terrible feeling that the galaxy was about to discover what happened when you threatened 8 billion humans who were very, very good at surviving. The emergency meeting lasted 6 hours. Admiral Helen Torres sat at the head of the long table in Starbase 7's command center. Around her were the most important military leaders in the galaxy. General Frank Morris, commander of the Federation. Fleet, Admiral Kate Brown, head of strategic planning. Colonel Dan White, the galaxy's expert on dangerous species. They had all read Dr. Kane's report. They had all watched the security footage of Jake Collins killing 12 armed pirates with his bare hands. They had all seen the medical scans showing his impossible physical capabilities. "Gentlemen, ladies," Admiral Torres began, "we have a problem, a very big problem." She pressed a button, and Jake's image appeared on the main screen. He was sitting in his cell, reading a book that Dr. Kane had given him. This being claims to be from a planet called Earth. According to his statements, Earth has 8 billion inhabitants. All of them possess similar physical capabilities. General Morris leaned forward. 8 billion Class 7 predators. That's more than the entire population of most sectors. "It gets worse," Torres continued. "Dr. Kane's analysis suggests that Jake Collins is not a warrior or a soldier. He is what his species considers an ordinary civilian." The room was silent. Colonel White was the first to speak. "Admiral, if this is true, we're looking at the most dangerous species in galactic history. One of them killed 12 trained pirates without weapons or armor. Imagine what a trained military force could do." Admiral Brown pulled up her datapad. "I've run battle simulations based on Jake Collins' demonstrated abilities. A single human soldier could potentially defeat 100 of our best troops. And they claim to have 50 million active military personnel," Torres added, "with the ability to field 1 billion soldiers if necessary." The implications were clear to everyone in the room. If humanity decided to expand beyond their world, they could conquer the entire galaxy. No force could stop them. "What do we know about their technology?" General Morris asked. "They have nuclear weapons," Torres replied. "Primitive by our standards, but effective. They've been spacefaring for less than a century, but they're advancing rapidly." "How rapidly?" "Jake Collins was traveling in a ship with faster-than-light capability. His species went from first flight to interstellar travel in less than 70 years. Colonel White whistled softly. "Most species take at least 300 years to make that jump. Some take over 1,000. "There's more," Torres continued. "Earth is located in what we call the dark sector. No surveys, no contact, no monitoring. We have no idea what they've been building out there. General Morris stood up. Admiral, I recommend immediate action. We need to contain this threat before it spreads. What kind of action? Planetary sterilization. Complete elimination of the threat. The room fell silent again. Planetary sterilization was the most extreme military action possible. It meant destroying all life on an entire world. Frank, we're talking about 8 billion sentient beings, Admiral Brown said quietly. 8 billion potential conquerors. Morris replied. Kate, they could end galactic civilization as we know it. Torres looked around the table. All in favor of Operation Cleansing Fire? 5 hands went up. 2 stayed down. Motion carries. General Morris, prepare the fleet. I want our most powerful ships ready to move within 72 hours. Back on the research ship, Jake Collins was having another conversation with Dr. Kane. He had no idea that his death sentence had just been signed. Lisa, can I ask you something? Jake said. Of course. How come everyone here is so afraid of violence? I mean, you all seem like nice people, but you act like fighting is the worst thing in the universe. Lisa thought about how to answer. Most species in the galaxy evolved on peaceful worlds, Jake. We solved our problems through cooperation, not conflict. That sounds nice, Jake said. But what do you do when cooperation doesn't work? What do you do when someone wants to hurt you? We have laws, police, courts. What if the bad guys don't care about laws? Lisa realized she didn't have a good answer. I suppose we ... we hope it doesn't happen very often. Jake nodded slowly. On Earth, we learned that sometimes you have to fight. Not because you want to, but because you have to protect the people you care about. Is that why you killed those pirates? Yes, they were killing your crew. Good people who didn't deserve to die. I couldn't let that happen. Lisa made more notes. Jake's violence hadn't been random or cruel. It had been protective, calculated. That somehow made it more frightening. Jake, what would happen if someone attacked Earth? Jake's expression changed. The friendly construction worker disappeared. In his place was something cold and dangerous. That would be a mistake, he said. Quietly. Why? Because humans don't just defend themselves. When someone attacks us, we attack back, harder. We keep attacking until the threat is gone, even if it meant war. Especially if it meant war. Lisa, humans are really good at war. We've been practicing for 300,000 years. Doctor. Kane felt a chill run down her spine. She was beginning to understand why the galaxy was so afraid. 2 days later, Captain Murphy received new orders. The research ship was to proceed immediately to a classified location. Jake Collins was to be transferred to a maximum security facility for further study. Jake seemed to sense that something had changed. When the guards came to move him, he didn't resist. But Lisa noticed that he was watching everything very carefully. Memorizing faces, counting weapons, studying the ship's layout. Jake, she said as they prepared to transfer him, I want you to know that I've enjoyed our conversations. Thanks, Lisa. You're a good person. I hope we can talk again someday. Something in his voice made her think he already knew they wouldn't. The transfer went smoothly until they reached the shuttle bay. That's when the ship's communication system crackled to life. Attention, Federation vessels. This is Captain Bobby Turner of the Earthship Wanderer. We're here to collect our citizen Jake Collins. Captain Murphy rushed to the bridge. On the main screen was a ship unlike anything they had ever seen. It was small but heavily armored. Weapon systems were clearly visible along its hull. Earth vessel, you are in Federation space without authorization, Murphy transmitted. Captain Murphy, we tracked Jake's emergency beacon to your location. We know you have him. We want him back. That's not possible. Jake Collins is in Federation custody. For security reasons. There was a pause. Then Captain Turner's voice came back, colder now. Captain, I'm going to explain this once. Jake Collins is a citizen of Earth. He's under our protection. You have 60 seconds to release him, or we will consider this an act of war. General Morris's voice cut through the communication channel. He was aboard one of the Federation ships that had just arrived. Earth vessel, you are outnumbered 50-1. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Captain Turner laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. General, you just made a very big mistake. You see, we didn't come alone. Suddenly, the space around them filled with ships. Dozens of them, all bearing Earth markings. All heavily armed. Jake Collins, still in the shuttle bay, heard the commotion. He looked at the guards around him and smiled that cold, predatory smile. Gentlemen, he said quietly, I think my ride is here. The guards raised their weapons, but Jake was already moving. He had been watching and planning for 2 days. In less than 30 seconds, all 6 guards were unconscious. Jake walked to the communication panel and activated it. Bobby, this is Jake. I'm in Shuttle Bay 3. Things are about to get interesting down here. Copy that, Jake. We'll have you out in 5 minutes. Jake looked around the shuttle bay. Soon, the galaxy would learn what happened when you threatened a human. When you threatened Earth, the war was about to begin. The Earth ships moved like hunting wolves. Fast, silent, and deadly. General Morris watched his tactical display with growing horror. The Federation fleet had 50 ships. The humans had brought 30, but somehow the humans were winning. How? Is this possible? Morris asked his tactical officer. Sir, their ships are smaller but much faster. Their weapons are more powerful than our scans indicated. And their pilots. The officer paused. Sir, they're fighting like they know exactly what we're going to do before we do it. On the main screen, another Federation ship exploded. The humans had targeted its engines first, then its weapons, then its life support. Precise, efficient, terrifying. Captain Bobby Turner's voice came through the communication system again. Federation fleet, you have lost 12 ships. We have lost none. I'm offering you one chance to surrender and discuss this like civilized beings. General Morris was furious. Never. All ships, focus fire on the lead Earth vessel. 30 Federation ships turned their weapons toward Captain Turner's ship. The space around it lit up with energy beams and missile explosions. When the light faded, the Earth ship was still there. Its shields had held against the combined attack of 30 warships. That was rude, Captain Turner said. Jake, are you clear yet? Jake Collins was already aboard the Earth Rescue Shuttle. He sat in the pilot's seat next to Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, a young woman who looked barely old enough to drive a car on Earth. Clear and safe, Bobby, Jake replied. But I think we have a problem. What kind of problem? The Federation just voted to sterilize Earth, kill everyone on the planet. The communication channel went silent for a long moment. Then Captain Turner's voice came back, but it had changed. It was colder now, harder. Sarah, get Jake out of here. Take him home. What about you? Jake asked. We're going to send a message. Lieutenant Mitchell fired up the shuttle's engines. As they pulled away from the battle, Jake watched through the rear window. What he saw next would stay with him forever. The Earth. Ships stopped trying to disable the Federation fleet. Instead, they began to destroy it. Completely. Methodically. Without mercy. The Federation ships were bigger and more heavily armed. But the human ships were faster and smarter. They worked together like parts of a single mind. When one ship attacked, the others were already in position to finish the job. In 20 minutes, the entire Federation fleet was destroyed. 50 ships. Thousands of alien lives gone. Captain Turner's ship approached the research vessel where Dr. Kane and her crew were hiding. Research vessel Harmony's Edge, Turner transmitted. Dr. Kane, I believe you have been studying our friend Jake Collins. Lisa answered with a shaking voice. "Yes, Captain. I want you to take a message back to your Federation." "Can you do that?" "Yes, tell them this. Earth knows about their plan to destroy our world. Tell them that we consider this an act of war. Tell them that if any Federation ship enters our system, we will defend ourselves." "Captain, surely we can discuss this peacefully." Turner's laugh was bitter. "Doctor, your Federation just tried to commit genocide. They wanted to kill 8 billion humans because one of us scared them. There's nothing peaceful about that." The Earth ships began to leave, but Turner had one more message. "Dr. Kane, I want you to understand something. Jake Collins is exactly what he told you he was. A construction worker. A regular guy. He's not a soldier, not a warrior, not a killer. He's just a normal human being. Then why was he so dangerous?" "Because that's what normal means for humans, Doctor. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived by being stronger, faster, and smarter than everything that wanted us dead. Jake didn't become dangerous. He was born dangerous, just like the rest of us." The Earth ships disappeared into hyperspace, leaving only wreckage behind. 3 weeks later, Dr. Kane stood in the Federation Council chambers on the capital world. She was giving her final report on the Jake Collins incident. "In conclusion," she said to the assembled leaders, "humanity represents the greatest military threat the galaxy has ever known, but they are not the monsters we thought they were." Admiral Torres leaned forward. "Explain. They didn't attack us first. We attacked them. They were willing to talk, willing to negotiate. We chose war. They destroyed an entire fleet after we voted to commit genocide against their species." "Admiral, if someone tried to destroy Earth, what did you expect them to do?" The council chamber was quiet. Finally, an elderly counselor spoke up. "Dr. Kane, what do you recommend?" Lisa had been thinking about this for weeks. "I recommend that we leave them alone, completely alone. No contact, no surveys, no interference." "That's surrender," General Morris said. He had survived the battle but lost his entire command. "No, General, that's survival. Humans are not interested in conquering the galaxy. They just want to be left in peace. But if we threaten them again, they will finish what we started." Admiral Torres asked the question everyone was thinking. "How many ships do they have, Doctor? I don't know. But I can tell you this. The 30 ships that destroyed our fleet? Captain Turner called them a rescue squadron, not their main fleet. Not their military, a rescue squadron." The implications were clear. If 30 human ships could destroy 50 Federation vessels, what could their entire military do? "There's something else," Lisa continued. "I've been thinking about what Jake told me, about Earth's history, about how humans survived." "What about it?" "Humans didn't just survive on their world. They conquered it. They became the dominant species on one of the most hostile planets in the galaxy. They didn't do it by being peaceful. They did it by being the most dangerous thing on their world." She paused and looked around the chamber. "And now they're off. Their world. Now they're in space, with ships and weapons and the same survival instincts that made them the apex predators of a death world." The Council voted that day to establish a boundary around human space. No Federation ships would cross it. No contact would be attempted. Earth would be left alone. But late that night, Admiral Torres sat in her office, staring at the star charts. Somewhere out there was a species that could destroy the Federation if they chose to. A species that had been shaped by 300,000 years of warfare and survival. She thought about Jake Collins, sitting in his cell, doing push-ups, and talking about his girlfriend and his dog. A normal human being who could kill trained soldiers with his bare hands. She thought about Captain Turner, calmly destroying 50 warships to rescue one construction worker. She thought about Earth, hidden in the dark sector, building ships and training soldiers and preparing for whatever came next. The galaxy had labeled Jake Collins a beast. He had told them he was just raised on Earth. Now the galaxy knew the difference between the two was smaller than anyone had imagined. And somewhere in the dark between the stars, 8 billion humans were learning that they were no longer alone. In the universe, the Federation could only hope that humans would choose to remain the monsters they knew, rather than become the monsters they didn't.